You said something simple, and then, almost before the other person could respond, you started adding to it, explaining the explanation, justifying the justification. Not because they asked, but because something inside you couldn't bear to be misunderstood. And the strange part, even after you finished talking, you replayed it, wondering if you said too much or not enough, or the wrong thing entirely. This isn't nervousness. It's not a bad habit. There's something much deeper running underneath it. And by the end of this, you'll understand exactly what it is. Think about the last time it happened. Maybe you declined an invitation and immediately launched into your schedule, your energy levels, your complicated week, when a simple "I can't make it" would have been enough. Or maybe you shared an opinion and then quietly dismantled it yourself before anyone else could. I mean, I could be wrong. It's just what I think. I don't know. It shows up in text messages you rewrite 3 times, in meetings where you overqualify every point, in relationships where you feel this quiet, exhausting pressure to always make yourself clear. And the harder you try to explain, the more misunderstood you feel. That gap between how much you say and how heard you feel never quite closes. Over time, this shapes your identity in subtle ways. You start to see yourself as someone who is hard to understand, too complex, too much, too sensitive. You internalize the belief that if people truly knew what you meant, they'd receive you differently. So you keep trying, keep explaining, keep offering more words as proof of your worth. This is the loop, and it is exhausting. But here's what I want you to hear. This pattern is not a personal flaw. It is a survival adaptation, one that almost certainly made sense at some point in your life. Psychologists who study attachment and early relational patterns consistently find this. People who grow up in environments where their emotions were frequently misread, dismissed, or punished learn to pre-explain. They learn that clarity is safety. That if you can just get ahead of the misunderstanding, if you can control how you're perceived, you might avoid the pain of being seen wrong. The over-explanation isn't anxiety about the present, it's a strategy built in the past, still running in the present. You are not broken, you are adaptive. The question is just, what were you adapting to, and does it still apply? Here's the psychological mechanism. In the brain, there's a system called predictive processing. Your mind is constantly generating predictions about what will happen next, especially in social situations. It's essentially running a simulation. If I say this, how will they respond? Will I be accepted or rejected? For people with a history of being misunderstood, that simulation is biased. It has been trained on experiences where being unclear led to conflict, withdrawal, or disconnection. So your nervous system, specifically the amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, flags ambiguity as danger. Here's a simple mental model. Think of your nervous system like a very experienced night guard. It has been on duty for years. It has seen things go wrong before. And now, at the slightest hint that you might be misread, it sounds the alarm. Say more, clarify, cover every angle, leave no gap they could misinterpret. The guard is trying to protect you, but the threat it's responding to often no longer exists. Understanding this doesn't immediately change the behavior, but it changes your relationship to it. You're not weak, you're guarded, and there's a difference. So, how do you begin to work with this, not against it? Here are 5 principles, each grounded in how the brain actually changes. 1. Learn to tolerate the discomfort of incompleteness. When you feel the urge to over-explain, notice it without acting on it immediately. In neuroscience, this is called urge surfing. You observe the impulse without immediately following it. The brain's threat response is intense but brief. If you don't feed it, it passes. In practice, send the shorter message. Make the shorter statement.
Sit in the discomfort for 60 seconds. You'll find that the catastrophe your nervous system predicted rarely arrives.
2. Identify the core fear beneath the explanation. Over-explaining is almost always protecting something. Fear of being judged, fear of conflict, fear of not being enough. Cognitive behavioral psychology shows that when we name the fear explicitly, its power over behavior decreases. The next time you catch yourself adding words, ask quietly, "What am I actually afraid will happen if I stop here?" Write it down if you need to. Make it concrete. A vague fear is a powerful one. A named fear is a smaller one. 3. Practice separation, statement versus justification. This is a behavioral exercise rooted in habit restructuring. Make your statement, then pause deliberately before adding anything. In that pause, ask, is what I'm about to add for them or for me? Real-life example. Your friend asks why you've been quieter lately. You say, "I've needed more space recently." That is complete. It is honest. It is enough. Everything added after that is likely protection, not communication. 4. Build a track record of being understood without the armor. Your nervous system learns through experience, not through insight alone. Each time you say less and the relationship holds, you are creating new data for your predictive brain. You are, slowly, retraining the night guard. This is the process that attachment-based therapists call corrective relational experience. You need evidence, and you build evidence by risking small clarities repeatedly. 5. Recognize that being misunderstood is survivable. This is the deepest one. Somewhere you learned that being misread was dangerous, that it would cost you connection, approval, or safety. But as an adult, you have something you likely didn't have then, the ability to repair. You can clarify later. You can revisit. You can say, "I don't think I expressed that well." The misunderstanding doesn't have to be permanent. And knowing that, really knowing it, gives you permission to say less in the moment. Here is the model you can carry with you. Every time you over-explain, there is a younger version of you trying to be finally, fully understood. That version of you learned something real, that words were necessary armor. Your work now is not to silence that voice. It is to gently show it that you are safe enough to be imperfect, that a sentence left unfinished doesn't mean a connection left broken, that you do not have to earn your place in a conversation. You have been trying so hard to be understood, and maybe in all that trying, you forgot something. The people who truly see you, they don't need all the words. They were already listening. You don't have to explain yourself into belonging. You already belong.